Probably painting with coffee is not new to you. Today you can watch me paint with coffee and create motifs by working out what I see in the coffee shapes, by simply drawing on them afterwards with colored pencils, and even painting on them again with more coffee. Hello painting friends! I have made a fairly strong can of coffee and filled it into my water spray bottle to create some loose light backgrounds and shapes. And of course I'll have a coffee too while I'm working. I am not working on Fabriano's sketch paper that is only 90 GSM, because what I do on the paper later would harm the thin paper too much. So I'm using the Canson mixed media paper that is 200 GSM. The Gelli plate today I use only for keeping the paper straight flat while the coffee buckles the second paper, which is intended because it creates different patterns by running. Laying down some tools that I usually use for jelly printing, placing them right into the wet coffee. This is a wheel of metal and a garlic net. You'll see later how astonishing the color comes out. A little later I am still moving that paper to make the coffee go in more directions. I am preparing 2 more papers. And again put objects on them. This is the inside layer of a package I received. This is a package for a frame. And here I am putting a nice stamp on it and leave it there. Some more coffee spray here. And this was a thin lid for a food container, which will serve as a sun or a moon. Addicted to moons, me. And just because it's Easter, I put some glasses on that I got in the dollar store. Next, I'm trying some stencils. I love stencil, but for the jelly printing, I rather use my own self-made stencils now. The bought ones are too perfect, too even, too professional for me. But with coffee they work well, and these also have a surprising effect later. Here's the reveals, about 2 hours later, and they're mostly dry. This is the one that was flowing to the sides. It created some legs, so there must be an animal, maybe a sheep? A sheep with 7 legs? Okay, I'd rather make it more than 1 sheep. Here's the one with the metal gear wheel and the garlic net. I think the wheel gave some of its rust away and it ran under the net as well, so the coffee and the rust made a bluish color when they were mixed together. Very nice. The one with the stamp and the package pieces didn't turn out that great, but of course you can also work on it with coffee again. I'll keep this one for a collage or so. And here's the sun, moon, grass piece. It is very light, but I like it a lot. Now the stencil piece is really a surprise. The sun rays are so interestingly filled in with the coffee, and when I remove the lemon stencil, it also has turned dark and bluish. I can only imagine that there still must have been some paint left from a previous print. And that is why I never clean my stencils or other tools when I work with acrylics. Very happy accidents. Now the working out part. I start with this one because I like it the most. I don't want to add much, just adding dark brown shadows to the lemon wheels to make them a bit more three-dimensional. Oh, hello, little doggy. In my world, even sun rays have shadows. I'm giving you a close-up here. A lighter sienna for the shapes in between the rays. Are they clouds or something? And finally some highlights with a white felt fabric marker. I love them because the highlights can be altered and lightened for a few seconds after using them, and they are not as bold as a Posca pen, for example. Better for subtle lights. This is the final result, and although I find it not too overwhelming as an artwork, I don't want to add anything. You surely could transfer a laser copy photo to it, but it probably would be too busy for my liking. This one was from another session for another video. Sorry, I haven't filmed it, but I immediately saw the frog that was hiding in it. So this inspired me to make this video. I'm working that one out now and also painting with some more coffee on it. As it cried out to be a frog, I chose a frog photo from Pixabay to inspire me more. The eyes are always the most important part of the animal, as I can start to relate to the animal as a being. So I basically almost always start with the eyes. Of course you have to forget about anatomy and that stuff. I'd rather follow the coffee pattern more. As the hind legs are always folded in 3 parts, I just place them on top of each other and hope that I can believe this frog myself. As I am defining the outlines of the body, I take care that I do not make them too straight. With drawing or painting nature and/or animals, it is important that patterns don't repeat themselves and are not in any way angled, straight, or consistent in any way, as then they immediately become man-made looking and are not so believable. The skin, especially that of amphibians, and yes, that's my dog snoring there, often has a lot of warts and knots and blobs. Can you stop that? I don't know the exact words for it, but you know what I mean. I practiced this a lot until it came automatically for me, because the less you think about it, the more natural it looks. Yeah, well, this leg is not really supported by the coffee shape, and not typical of me, I erased that part to the side with white pencil, defining more of the outlines and skin textures and shadows. The areas that were left white serve as skin risings and get their own shadows. Here I'm drawing the paws, toes, feet. And here I want to show you how you can create highlights by just erasing some of the coffee. I brush on the paper with clear water and then pick it up with a tissue. Very easy. You can do that as you would do with watercolors. Also, you can paint and work on this with watercolors only if you don't like the coffee. I just find that the coffee tone, after a few layers, gets this wonderful golden glow, which you can't see really in a video. So on a coffee painting, you can paint more with coffee and get that glow in some areas. I'm painting on some of the patterns of the skin that I can see in the reference photo. As soon as they have dried though, I find that they look flat somehow, so I'm putting more coffee dots on, producing highlights and shadows inside the skin dots. I'm showing you that closer in a minute. Around these blobs, you can see some white outlines on the photo, so I am creating them with a white pencil. Finishing the eyes and putting on the most important part with a fabric liner, the reflections in the eyes. That frog really is alive now. And finally, just for some interest, I am placing some shadows in the background, but not everywhere. So I have worked out only 2 of the coffee paintings. Maybe I'll develop the others too, but for the moment I don't see very much in them. Maybe you can see more in these than I do. Tell me in the comments if you like. See you next week with Gelli Plate again. Bye!